Our good friend Adam C., who's always chiming in with some great conversational topics and points. He's got a bunch. He said, so, between the Gophers losing in the playoffs, it has been a year for Minnesota sports. The Wild had their sudden front office departures among controversial extensions. The Twins managed an actual postseason victory only for payroll to get cut. The Loons didn't officially have a head coach to start the season. The Whitecaps were bought up and dissolved, and now the Timberwolves Lynx are in an ownership dispute. I don't really follow football, but assume the Vikings are the same as ever. My question, do you believe in the Minnesota sports curse? Kirsten, you're first.
To an extent, but I feel like we're leaving out two big components in that. One, the Twins broke their postseason curse or drought, however you want to call it. What was it, like 18, 19 years without winning a first-round playoff game or just winning a playoff game? Mm-hmm. We did that. We broke that last year. That's done. And then when you look at the Wolves, we're number one in the West, baby. We're sitting pretty. So ownership issues aside, like, Glenn Taylor can't own the team forever. Like, that dispute's going to come to an end at some point. I don't know when, but it's going to. Probably when the Wolves start losing again. And he's like, ooh, actually, this team's bad again. I no longer want them. So I believe in the Minnesota sports curse to an extent because we've been down bad. But I feel like we've seen glimmers of hope recently. So, I don't know. The curse might be being lifted. Maybe we've done our time.
I don't know. It's tough. Who owns the Chiefs? Slapshot? No? Okay. That's all I kept thinking. It's a movie you need to see. We need to have and get your reaction from it. Who owns the Chiefs? Who owns the Wolves? I don't think it's a curse as much as it is just dramatics. There's always an element of drama. Like, you're watching this reality TV show unfold, and there's always something you're like, well, of course that's going to happen. Or of course, because you can't just have like a nice regular clean season across the board for sports. Always one team that's got to be a little chaotic, a little unhinged. And unfortunately in Minnesota it seems to be multiple teams go through that. I mean, you look at the Twins.
If we need a host for that reality show, I volunteer.
Can we do it together?
You can be the correspondent. I want to host.
Sounds a little
You can be
weird,
like the
but
reporter.
fine.
You can be doing the interviews.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I can get behind that. I'll ask the
questions. And then I want to bring
questions.
the drama with my narration and everything.
Yeah. I like this. This is good. We have to come up with the title for it.
Yeah.
Not so Minnesota.
We have time to work on it.
We're taking your suggestions now. I think there's potential here. NBC, ESPN, give us a call. We're ready. HBO. Seems like an HBO reality show because I want cursing.
Ooh, yeah. And everyone knows I've got the mouth of a sailor.
Yeah, we need the
I
authenticity.
Can't be censored.
You're in sports. But no, I mean, the Twins open it up and Royce Lewis hits a home run and yay, it's going to be an amazing year for him. And then he gets hurt. Now, it's always something. I feel the Wild.
Baseball's a long season, though. For sure, sitting for 1 month. So the month of April, then being reevaluated. Baseball's a marathon, not a sprint.
But it's still kind of funny. Like, it's
It
still
is
like
funny. It's just bad luck. I don't know what it is.
It's sad funny. Like, it's not funny, but it's just like, yup, there it is. Like,
his season's not over. He'll be back.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's just.
I get what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying?
Trying to be the voice of reason.
Because people were starting their houses on fire. They were not happy with that outcome. But he seemed fine and jovial post game. And yeah, as you'd mentioned, it's only supposed to be a month, about a month, 4 weeks. So there's that. Yeah, I'm going to call it the Minnesota Dramatics, not necessarily the curse. There is definitely a feeling of unluckiness having been a Minnesota sports fan since birth, but we'll see. Next question from Adam C. How do you like eggs since apparently scrambled with ketchup is a no-go? It's funny because Kirsten and I both reacted to this in last week's episode with Joe O'Donnell, Minnesota Wild play-by-play, in case you missed it. He stole Kirill Kaprizov's eggs, which was the first abomination. And then he had talked about adding ketchup to eggs. Now, I probably reacted too aggressively because that is normal. I forgot my mom constantly puts ketchup on her eggs, and I do see it more often.
It shouldn't be normal. Use salsa like an adult.
This is true. Like, or just cheese and salsa or hot sauce. Like, ketchup just does feel a little amateur.
A little bit. But, Adam C., I'm so glad you asked because I make eggs every single morning. First, I buy the pasture-raised eggs. They have to be pasture-raised eggs. That's the brand that I buy. And then I add in cut up bell peppers, the whole variety. You get the yellow, the green, the red. And then I have to use the taco blend cheese on them. Mix that in. You mix it in when the eggs are still a little bit runny so it really absorbs with the egg. And then I cook that with sourdough. Now, if I'm feeling fancy, a little bit of salsa is never a bad idea. If you add in onions and spinach too, ooh, just even better.
Are we wrapping this? No, you said in sourdough? Like
Yeah,
on a toast?
sourdough. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I can get behind that. I'm more simple. I just do eggs, cheese, and some hot sauce, like some Cholula.
We got to change that up a little bit. You got to add something in.
But like when time calls, like when I have, like yesterday I hosted Easter brunch and I had the tortillas. So you could do a full on burrito. I had the bacon. You crumble up a little bacon in there. You get some salsa, get some sour cream, whatever you need to do. I've also done. I'm very good at making breakfast pizza, which is one of my favorites. That's the other best way to eat eggs is breakfast pizza.
Sour cream on eggs sounds criminal to me.
It was the Mexican sour cream, so it's a little different. It's more like the stuff you get at Chipotle, so it's a little runny. But the salsa I have is so spicy that I just needed to chill it out a little bit. It's not bad. But I feel like ketchup on eggs, and correct me if I'm wrong, feels like a Midwest thing.
Agreed.
And it's
Use
not
salsa. Grow up.
It's not as criminal
Grow
as like
up,
putting
Joe O'Donnell. Use salsa.
It's not as criminal as putting ketchup on steak, which I have seen and I wanted to scream.
I bet Joe puts ketchup on his steak.
I wish I never saw it.
I'm gunning for Joe right now.
I wish I never saw this person not only ordered their steak well done, but asked for ketchup. I was like, did you want a hamburger? I feel like you meant to order a hamburger.
Don't get me started.
It happened 8 years ago and I still haven't forgotten the anger I felt.
That's disrespectful to the animal.
So terrible. Just awful. So, moving on. Which of the recent Wild prospects signed are you most excited for?
Height.
Yes.
1000%. I'm very excited to see what he does. I think there's been a lot of hype surrounding him since he was selected by Minnesota. I'm very excited to see what he can offer.
Yeah, and again, a lot of these contract signings happening for entry-level deals that start next year. Jack Pert signed his. Minnesota forward Riley Heidt signed his. That will start next year as well. But I agree, Riley Heidt is the one I think that everybody has higher expectations on, kind of similar to Murat Huznadinov, who again we'll get to in just a moment. 65 games for Prince George in the WHL. He had 114 points, 10 power play goals, 36 power play assists. So get a little help on that second power play unit minimally. He was selected in the second round, 64th overall last year by Minnesota. A lot of upside to him and his game. I believe I did a feature on him last year from development camp, so go find that if you'd like. But certainly one of the more exciting ones. And Jack Pert, the hometown kid, you get excited for his potential. But I think Riley Height's the one that's going to be fighting for a spot come training camp for sure. Any bandwagons you're hopping on for the playoffs, since we probably won't have a home team in the race? Dallas, Colorado, Vancouver are the three Western teams to have clinched, by the way, for the record. And then out east, you have Boston, Florida, New York, and Carolina clinching.
Well, this team has not clinched, but it's no bandwagon for me because I'm going with Nashville, baby. That's who I will be rooting for. Should I take everyone on a field trip quick since I'm at my mom's house to just show you something?
Kind of. I mean, now that you've offered it,
well,
this
I
could
don't
go
have my
really
laptop,
well or really
I don't
bad.
have my microphone because based on a very personal situation that went on the other day, my head was just all over the place. Didn't come prepared. So I'm mobile today. So I have the opportunity to show you guys this. This has been here since high school, and my mom has yelled at me to take it down, and it just hasn't left. But right there in my basement.
Look at that.
So no bandwagon here, just loyal. I mean, Minnesota, yeah, I keep it. They're rivals. So
yeah.
But yeah,
we'll survive. I like it. This was the tour with Kirsten. We should do more of these
of
things.
My mom's house.
Mm-hmm. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. No. I'm going to go with, this is also should be of no surprise because they are my Stanley Cup champs as I picked them this year. I've got there's my tour. There's my Messier jersey because I'm picking the New York Rangers. I love everything about New York. The Rangers, that is. I think it's their time. I think it's due. Let's see the cup on Broadway. I don't hate it.
I love me
Carolina,
some
though, is
Peter Laviolette.
love me some Peter Laviolette. They've got Blake Wheeler out there, so the cup will come back. I always do. I always take a peek at which Minnesotans have the opportunity to bring that cup bomb back here to Minnesota. So they've got that representation covered. I dig New York. Although Carolina's is always making a push. I've liked them the past few years, but then I always get disappointed by them. So I've kind of reserved. But I love me some Rod the Bod and
Ron the Bod.
Rod the Bod. He's the
It's not the
best.
first time I've heard that. He is a very fit man.
Yes.
But yeah, Carolina needs to get over the hump. I've also been rooting for them as my Eastern Conference team for years. Really trying to make a push after acquiring Getzel. So,
Yeah.
and I just
think
called him,
that's.
I forgot the N, Gensel.
You said Getzel, and I was very
Yeah, Gensel. I
concerned.
haven't
Okay.
had coffee today, and I corrected myself right away.
You did. You caught it. I
Gensel.
wasn't going to call you out on it. I was just like, maybe
I
nobody
called
will catch
myself
it.
out.
You did. You did. So that's who we're going to pick. Let me know who you guys are picking. I would be super curious to hear that. One more from Adam C. before we've got a couple others. Does it get easier covering a team when the season is effectively over, or does it become a drag?
I know, I'm just kind of getting sad knowing, like, each game is closer to my last.
Yeah.
And then, like, don't get me wrong, the break after a long hockey season is so needed, and I'm so excited to just have some time to, well, when the weather warms up, weather permitting, go to the lake on my little paddleboard and just relax, know where to be. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I need to find another job to fill my time in the summer. So that's a little, like, don't know my off-season plans yet, but yeah, and then it's like the last day of school. It's like, when am I going to see my friends again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about covering a winter sport, so your off-season is the summer, because there's far worse things to do. But I'm with you. Like, there's a couple weeks where it's nice, you just kind of recatch your breath, hang out with the kids, do all that. And then I get bored, and then I get kind of stressed and panic, because then honestly, like, my stories for NHL.com don't start coming back until like mid-June. So there's that off time, which is nice. But when you're go all the time during the season, you kind of don't know what to do with all the time on your hands. Like, you just kind of sit there. You're right, paddleboarding. I will be back at Loggers Golf Course this summer as well, so I'll hopefully pick up some more days there, getting some money that way. But yeah, it's a bittersweet situation. Covering the team when the season's done can be hard, because you can sense the hostility. Like, in that locker room, it's not that it's always like super fun to go in there and hang out, like they're competitive people, but when it's over, it just has a different vibe to it, which isn't always great.
God, that's why I'm so happy I don't have to be in there sometimes.
Yeah, like, it's usually when it's one of those nights where I have a sense it's going to be weird, like Saturday, I went Vegas. I was like, I'll take the Vegas Golden Knights room. They'll be a little bit chipperer, if you will. So that's how that goes. A couple more questions here before we wrap up this week's episode from Jason J. What do you hope we do in the offseason to make this team better?
I'm running my mind through everything right now to see what we can do. I'm because I've been critical in the past, I'm going to just take this stance right away, because I know where a lot of people's heads are at. John Merrill, I'm going to give him his flowers. I had somebody come up to me the other night and ask me, they're like, what have you thought about the way John Merrill's played tonight? And I literally told him, I said, I think since the trade deadline, he's played a hell of a lot better and turned his game around. So I know a lot of people are like, when can we get rid of him? Why have we not gotten rid of him? He's literally one of the least of my worries at this moment in time. I think he's been a lot better, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, get rid of him. So I'm just making that out for everybody. He's turned it around, and if you look at his game and say otherwise, take a look again. So that's one thing. I don't know. I think the biggest thing for me, assess more of your defensemen. Like, I know that's kind of critical just to what I just said, but I think just the defensive unit as a whole, take a look at it, because even to start the year, it was a major concern, but also there's still some gaps there. I don't know entirely how to fix it. I don't know who you call up to be like, hey, let's fill in here. But just, I think that needs to be assessed a little bit more, because it's been a little bit of a concern. It's still not as strong as it could be. The other one that I would have is goaltending. Get that situation squared away and see what we're going to be doing next year, for one. And then we need to assess some of our forwards as well.
final question was coming from Rob G. Opinions on Kuzi after 7 games. I will just say I've liked it. I thought in particular the game against Vegas, he played really well. He still is looking for his first goal. He's -2, but in general, I think he's been given some really good opportunity. 13 minutes has been kind of the average for him, which I think is just about right. He's been put into some good situations. I like it. Are you a Who's Enough stan, Kirsten, so far? I mean, through 7 games, it's not been bad. It's been fine, I think.
Yeah. For me, sorry, now I can't talk. It's been harder to actually get to watch him with the majority of the games that we have played. It's been at home and I've been working, so I haven't been able to like key in and really see what he's been able to do. But I think he's been quiet in the way where I haven't noticed his mistakes if he's had them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's been a big takeaway. And I mean, transitioning his game to the NHL, it's going to take some time, especially fitting into the Wild. He's still learning everything. But so far, I think he's done a good job. I'm impressed with him, and I'm excited to see what else he can do.
Shout out to James from Offside Hockey, covering the Toronto Maple Leafs, now proud owners of Connor Dewar, who has 2 points through 10 games and is 8 penalty minutes. He asked if Connor Dewar will be effective in the playoffs for the Leafs. Does it matter if you lose in the first round anyway?
Ooh.
Sorry. Chirp, 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 chirp. Dewey will be just fine. Dewey 2 will do just fine for you guys in the playoffs. Not that you need him when you have Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner and even Bertuzzi doing his thing. God, I wish I had like a talented team, but they'd still lose in the first round. Just what happens. I don't feel bad. We're Minnesota Wild fans. I don't feel bad chirping another team that has had more success in general.
True.
You know?
I don't know. We'll see. I am not convinced until they do the thing. So
they got to do the thing.